storm itself. Stay with the Weather Channel, the Hurricane Authority.
And welcome back. Some brand new video, at least coming in from portions of Staten Island, I believe. This one right there, where we have had, again, some water rescues across a number of areas around portions of New York, southern New England, the mid-Atlantic, and again, some more issues around these areas where the rain continues to be a big problem and the runoff a big problem. So this isn't even necessarily storm surge flooding. This is just the pure rain that Irene was able to drop.
All right, so we want to give you the big picture look at what the flooding will be like, the concerns we're looking at over the next several hours and the next few days. So let's bring in our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes. And Dr. Forbes, we touched on this yesterday, and unfortunately, it still looks like a lot of those river gauges are still going to go up over the next several hours and next few days.
Absolutely. We have a tremendous number of rivers that are going to reach major flooding. That means many homes are going to be having flood waters in them. Some already do. Let's take a look. We'll start with the big picture. Unfortunately, the rainfall that we had predicted, a widespread 6 to 12 inches, has verified up across New Jersey. We're seeing some of the spotty reports here, but we also have some reports of 10 and 11 inches. So these oranges, there's been a huge swath of heavy rain, and we'll talk more about the consequences of that, the runoff and the river flooding. Still heavy rain ongoing. Here's Irene Center, now northwest parts of Connecticut. There's the line of converging air, southeast to the right of the line, northeast to the left of the line, and that is giving a band of heavy rain from just east of Albany, New York, up into near Rutland, Vermont. There are some 1 to 2 inch per hour rains in there. That is giving torrential rain, flash flooding. We're hearing reports of dams that may fail, lots of river flooding, lots of road flooding. Serious situation. Don't be on the roads and don't drive through any flooded roadways. Now, we've had heavy rain yesterday all the way across eastern North Carolina up into the Delmarva Peninsula. It's continued overnight in these red shaded areas. We have ongoing flooding there, and it's spreading up into these areas, up into the western parts of New England. And so here's a little bit of the timeline. Some of these areas, because the rain has ended a while ago, it's cresting today in North Carolina and Virginia. I'll leapfrog up to New England. Hillier terrain, it rains fast, it runs off fast, it will crest tomorrow. Flatter New Jersey, the flooding continues for days there. And so let's take a look a little bit at the situation for those flatter areas. And New Jersey, for example, is a place that we said was the most waterlogged. We've had about 7 inches of rain on average over the whole state. The whole state. So if it were perfectly flat, New Jersey would be a lake at this point, because the ground, we're telling you, could only hold 2 inches of water. So that means that we would have had 5 inches of water covering the whole state. Now, it's not perfectly flat, so that is running off and filling up then in the lower spots, the river valleys. As a consequence, many of the rivers are or predicted to rise 15 to 20 feet, which means a lot of homes are going to go underwater. Many of the rivers, all the rivers will flood. Let's take a look at our graphics 13, and we'll see one of the locations. This is at the Passaic River at Pine Brook in New Jersey. It started out yesterday about 16.5 feet, well below flood stage, has risen very fast. This afternoon, it's going to go into major flood stage, and it won't be here until Tuesday morning that it gets close to a record crest. And then here we are all the way over into Wednesday afternoon. It's still way above major flood stage. And so this is a place that once the water gets in these relatively flat, slow-flowing river areas, it stays for days. And so all of these areas in northeast New Jersey where it was so waterlogged, it's a flooding problem for days. Todd?
Oh, it's incredible stuff, Dr. Forbes. Thank you so much for the update. And, you know, not to trivialize the situation with the rain, but if your kids are in the house and they're bored, it may be an interesting, some of the information Dr. Forbes just gave you, have them do a math problem based on 7 inches worth of rain over the surface area of the entire state of New Jersey. Figure out how many gallons fell across the area. Obscene numbers, truly. And at least looking at the Doppler estimates. Now, keep in mind, a lot of the Doppler estimates are quite a bit lower than what we've seen out of a lot of the rain gauges across portions of New England and the mid-Atlantic as well, seeing some numbers there south of Philadelphia as high as 13.1 inches. We've had an enormous area of places that have actually, a number of areas that have seen over a foot of rainfall. So really incredible stuff, Maria. And again, the threats continue today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've watched now how Irene is impacting parts of New England. And early this morning, the wind and the rain was lashing parts of Rhode Island. And that's where our Ron Bloom joins us now in Narragansett. And Ron, I see a couple of the trash cans blown over. I see your jacket rippling in the wind. So obviously wind's still a huge factor right now.
Well, yeah, the gusts keep picking up, 35 pushing 40 miles an hour. This is Ocean Road, and earlier this morning it was Ocean Bottom. This is about a 12-foot long piece of timbers. Actually, there's two of them about 14-inch square. They're lashed together. They came from around the point. They were part of an old casino hotel resort complex that had burned down many years ago and been stuck out of the ocean. They were snapped off. You can see the fresh wood. What looks like mud down here is just seaweed. And as we push out here, you can see that the people are still coming out to see what's happening. Back to you guys.
All right, Ron Bloom in Narragansett, appreciate it. That's out of Rhode Island. Let's head back to New York, where we're now getting a briefing on and an update on the transportation situation in New York City.
People in jeopardy. So here's what we're doing right now. We have pump trains operating in several places on the subway system where we took on water. We have people walking the tracks, as I mentioned before. We're getting people up onto the elevated rights of way. We have over 200 miles of elevated track on the subway. We're getting people up onto the elevated rights of way as wind gusts allow. Our safety precautions, obviously, for our employees. We don't want to put them into unsafe situations. And of course, we need to get equipment and people back in place. One of the big issues we also have is that moving the equipment out of harm's way means that it's in the wrong place for service. For example, we have virtually no trains located in Brooklyn right now because we had to empty out all of the yards that were in Brooklyn. On the Long Island Railroad, we have trees down and flooding in several areas. Wind gusts were continuing at various points, and we're expected to continue through the late afternoon. So the process we have of pinning up the gates, there are 295 gates on the Long Island Railroad. We cannot take those gates down and release them until the wind gusts ease up. So we will be undertaking that process as soon as the forecast calls for that. The Metro North territory may well have sustained the worst damage. We have serious flooding on all three lines of Metro North. We have power outages across the lines. Given some of the conditions up there, this may continue for some time. We have erosion of tracks and the like.
City area on the transit situation as far as the kind of the effects left over from Irene. Again, we'll continue to check in with them. We'll, of course, bring you the very latest as we can.
Where'd you get that